mid 90 degrees today in Atlanta. For some reason, I find myself out here walking every day. If not here, then on another trail, but walking has become a staple of my life. I used to be a jogger at one time, and I'm probably headed back in that direction. Just need to lean up a little more so that I can carry my body weight comfortably. Anyway, I was thinking about the education space and how the narrative has been persistent throughout my career all the way to 2024. Now, I was born in the 60s, and my experience was different from probably 99.9% of people, because I grew up and went to school in Atlanta in the early 70s, throughout the 80s, graduating high school. I went to a couple of elementary schools, but in particular, I went to Frederick Douglass High School in Atlanta. And the competing school at that time was Benjamin E. Mays High School, which came along later. Douglass was actually founded first, and then Mays came along in the early 80s. But anyway, there was a high level of expectation coming out of those two schools in particular, and there still are at this time. Same level of expectation, but the school board and the government and the school system itself was all in cahoots with excellence, and that's what I experienced growing up. And I saw it all through my elementary and high school years in education. So there was no such thing as, at least I didn't hear it, being at risk or talking about how black kids are behind, for example, or minority kids and the struggles with this population and the struggles with that population. It was non-existent. But the narrative started picking up, I guess, in the early 90s, when some of the laws were changed to trap some individuals in the prison system, some of which are being released now because they're legalizing things that people were getting locked up for 30 years ago, but that's a side story. But it's all related to the narrative. It's time to end the narrative, because once you start believing the narrative, you're basically forecasting and magically making happen those things which you narrate in advance. It's almost like a spell, because everybody believes it and they act on it. Then it becomes reality. So we're gonna have to change the way we operate, which basically begins with the things we're saying. I know that's going to be hard to do, because I'm sure there's a certain population that does not want to see changes, particularly in the minority, quote unquote, black communities, as far as achievement and excellence is concerned. Just my opinion. But the narrative is a lie, because I've only seen excellence my whole life. Because I lived in Atlanta, I've seen how government works and it's supposed to work. I've seen how school systems work and it's supposed to work. I've seen how neighborhoods work and supposed to work. Never had the inclination to move from Atlanta, because everybody else was busy moving to Atlanta. So once I realized that was occurring in the early 90s, I said there's no need for me to pack up and ever go anywhere, because the world is coming to Atlanta. Now, do I go visit other places? Yeah, I do, but after about 3 days, it's always time to come back home. I haven't found a place yet that I'd rather reside than my current residency. This video is not about anything in particular. I just find it easy to come up with topics while I'm out here on this belt line, getting my exercise in enjoying the sunshine. It's where my clearest thoughts come to me. Headed down to Tampa later this week to do a presentation about how to teach today's kids while leading change. In a nutshell, the change has to start with us, the adults. Once we change, then the kids will change, not the other way around. We try to go in trying to change kids like we got all our stuff together. If we had it all together, then the kids wouldn't be performing like they are right now. It's going to take a huge effort to turn things around. May not even see it in my lifetime. But at first, the lie needs to be exposed. We need to stop acting like black kids can't perform this or perform that. Because when I look around as an adult, I see black men and women performing at a very high level on every level, in every occupation. How did that happen? You cannot put a narrative on a person's life while they're in elementary or high school because you don't know the outcome. Once we get rid of these narratives, our outcomes will instantly get better. I actually experienced that in the school system when I was the principal. I went in 1 year, changed the narrative to the best of my ability, and then all of a sudden everything increased. Better test results, significantly better environment and culture in the school amongst teachers and students. Discipline decreased significantly. It's going to be a problem. This whole educational experience is going to be a problem because we got a lot of people quitting. So where are these teachers going to come from? Teaching is the best decision that I ever made, prompted by my mother, because that wasn't my initial occupation. My original occupation was that as a fireman, firefighter, and EMT in Fulton County, Georgia. That was my career for 3 years until it wasn't. I just decided to be a teacher, go back to school, get my credentials up. So I substituted for a while as a teacher. Then I became a teacher after taking proper classes, got hired, got certified, retired as assistant superintendent. I didn't plan any of it, but I do encourage the teaching profession, especially to young black men, young black ladies. It's needed. You're needed. And for those already in the profession, you're definitely needed. Because if you vacate, then the whole public educational system will be upended in very short fashion.